first thing first, it doesn't matter like if you want to represent it or you want to simulate it. Fundamentally, any kind of human representation or trying to like recreate infinite is going to have a lot of problem. So for example, here's what you can see is the simulated app crashing, or just me stopping it. So, and as of course this code is the same as the one that I used and show that to prove like the infinite, the infinite room or infinite, whatever room text it is. And you cannot just say that, because I saw like there's like some starting, so I guess it's not infinite. And you may say that, so the theoretical infinite room suddenly becomes not infinite. Of course no, but that's because of your or my personal limitation. For example, this computer, the simulated RAM, or whatever reason, okay, that's external cause. And that you cannot just say that your simulated result just immediately proves that like you still have room or you still don't have room to fit something. And to further prove like the concept, say for example, if I just try to extend this script, so it's like the concept of, maybe some people would argue that because he used this algorithm and it somehow proved that you have more space, and I don't know, maybe there is some other people still don't believe that like you should not draw an end to infinite. Some people would stress that maybe anything has a start, even infinite. But then I would reversely try to prove you something. So this is the proof for it. I'm going to show you because I think it will be better to further prove and solidify the concept itself, and just make it really rigid and undebatable. So of course here you can see we already literally has an infinite rooms, okay, no doubt, okay, you cannot even see the end of that 9, okay, no doubt, the last one galaxy brand. So would you say that, okay, so now suddenly it has a start, and because it has a start, then you can somehow abuse it or make it somehow funnily, somehow like invalid, that you are not infinite, and somehow create a term called uncountable infinite or infinity. That's not what I would think any true mathematician should do, but to further prove it. So for example, if I create something like this, so it will just practically fill the whole screen how many times you like it. I think it's creating error, so very great. Even this code itself doesn't understand what the heck I'm doing. So of course I'm going to just merge all of those that I just typed before. So now it's practically a 9 with no end. So whatever big number you wanted it to be, so there you go. Now that's great. Okay, so now we have and the thing that is wrong that I'm trying to prove is fundamentally is this: what he said, or what the old theory that he referenced is the old broken theory. I'm going to just say it clearly and just be frank. That's just a broken theory. So for example, I have some unique hash reverse algo magic that show the last element, okay, and this is the function, okay. and it just doesn't, it just ignores whatever input is, right? It just reverse whatever name you want, and you can just get something so-called that is not existed and not trainable in the so-called room. Okay, but that is a very broken concept. The essence that it is in a computerized situation, or at least in a very logical sense, is just trying to tell you that you have somehow have another thing that you cannot fit. Okay, somehow another thing, somehow, theoretically. But of course, it doesn't state that what is your limit. And if your thing doesn't have a limit, how would you even have a new thing, right? How would you even have a new thing? But I'm going to just postpone that, but I'm going to show you directly. What it's trying to show is, you can just return something like what we have right now. Okay, what we have right now, and let's just do this and then plus 1. Now so that's great. So now you just get this, and then you say that your number of human equals to this thing output. So now I'm going to just run it, of course, and show it to you how dumb it is. If it runs, of course, I don't know if my computer can run this thing, but I do hope it will run. So V2, or is it V2? In essence, it's just something like this. To show you print the n. I think just now it also prints the n for that very infinite line. Okay? So yeah, I'm going to just run this again. Yeah, so it's the n again. So it somehow just used this weird algorithm and tells you that, oh yeah, I guess you somehow can just bypass infinite and prove that you don't have infinite, or you just create a new term, so-called countable infinite, and create a new term called uncountable infinite to fit your magically funny magical theoretical case. Okay, which is just frankly dumb, man. That's not what any true philosophy or mathematician would propose. Maybe I guess a good mathematician, at least I would say, to not discredit the idea of this concept, at least. But it's just a very dumb concept, right? Because fundamentally, what you have is just you're fundamentally conflicting the definition of infinite. Okay? This is not the true infinite, as I said before. The true infinite would have something that looks like this. Very simple, very blank. You ask the owner, do you have more room? It will always tell you yes. Because why? It's infinite. You just never runs out. You cannot compare, and you cannot just magically derive a new thing that somehow states that you have one more human that you cannot fit in. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. To make a more simple analogy for you, in case you are still wondering, so say for example I use a 3-dimensional thing, right? The same as a room. Say for example I use a sun, and if I say I have infinite sun, and I want to sacrifice sun to the sun god of Ra, you would definitely have no problem. Even if you derive a magical algorithm uniquely identified sun to sacrifice to the sun god of Ra, you will definitely still have sun left, because that's the definition of infinite. Okay? If you don't believe me, you can just search Merriam-Webster, okay? And the first 3 or 2 or 4, it will just tell you extending indefinitely, and immeasurably or inconceivably great or extensive, or just quote unquote inexhaustible. And what is inexhaustible is just you don't see an end, literally. Whatever end that you said you have is just your human interpretation, your human brain limitation. That's your problem, okay? No matter how many I type on this screen, no matter how many times I copy paste, it just doesn't matter. No matter how many things I do, I can just keep on pasting this forever, keep pasting, paste until the computer just doesn't understand what the fuck I'm doing, okay? But it doesn't matter, okay? In the end, it's just a number that you imagine. You are imaginary limitation, and you just somehow imaginary derive a +1 with your so-called magical algorithm. And even if like I run this again, quote unquote, to prove you that you would of course get the it now just of course great, yeah. So yeah, there you go, it's the end again. Wait, it's at the bottom. So in the end, what is just a fundamentally flaw by the mathematicians, I guess, or a mistake in the theory itself. And it's just a very, I guess, a very silly misunderstanding, or just so-called a beautiful misunderstanding within the context or the books or whatever. If you really wanted to say that your thing can be exceeded by +1, then you must fundamentally first accept that you are not defining infinite at the first place. The pre-assumption of the infinite room would immediately become room, as I shown and as I proven here. You would just get the n if you run this simulation. That's the most simplistic way I can prove to you and to make any human to understand. And it's just a factual fact. If you really want, you cannot just fundamentally, it's just a very theoretical thing in definition. Say if you want to define that there is only positive and negative, say in an ideal world or a theoretical world, then you must pick either one. You cannot just say that I am infinite and then I somehow can exceed this. It just conflicts with your definition, right? Say if your definition is you have money, and you cannot just somehow say that when you have money somehow you just magically derive that you don't have money. This is just stupid, frankly. Unless you say that in a scenario case and then you do extra processing on the environment itself. But this is not the case. You don't process the world, you don't process the room itself, you don't modify the world. You are just adding more customer, and you're just deriving a new customer from like your hash or something, or some algorithm your magically proposed algorithm is. So that's just very wrong. And to be more frank and be more obvious and has more concrete evidence, it's quite obvious why there, when you see NIST or you see like AES encryption, all those actual certified encryption, they don't say they have infinite encryption, they don't say they have infinite protection, because they are very 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 certain at what they are doing, and they know like what is the extent of it, and they know that nothing is truly infinite, because any good security expert would know that. And I guess maybe it's just not really widespread in terms of like the mathematician or the hypothetical mathematicians field or those areas or maybe those communities. But if you went to like computer science and all those like those security analysts, then you would know that nothing is truly infinite in terms of security. It's the same. You don't just magically get infinite, and if it's just impossible for human to achieve infinite, frankly. And you cannot just magically derive an algorithm that says something that has infinite protection magically gets weakened and makes it transparent. It's not infinite anymore. You cannot just make something like that. If you can make it not infinite, then in the first place it's not even infinite. And any mathematician or security expert would know that if you can even bypass anything in an algorithm or in an encryption, then it would just not be infinite. And it would just not be that thing, that bit security that they are promising. It's just that simple. So yeah, that's the add-on or patch